if you have less than $500,000 saved for retirement, right? For you, Social Security is probably a pretty big chunk of what you're going to do or what you're going to have for your retirement income. Now, there's a general rule of thumb for you if you're in this group. The general rule of thumb is simply this. Try to hold off and wait as long as you can. That is the general rule.
Welcome to Retirement Today. I'm your co-host, Zach Holcomb, and alongside me we have Michael Reese. He's a certified financial planning professional, and he spent the last 25 plus years helping families get into and through retirement. And retirement, that's a big part of what this show's about. And Mike, we've got a great topic to discuss today, but before we get into our show, tell me how you're feeling. How are you?
Well, as you know, I am just doing awesome. I'm always doing great. Living in Austin, Texas. Well, actually, I live in Valente, right north of Lake Travis there, but living in the area, enjoying the weather, life is fantastic.
You're out in the sticks. You can't say you live in Austin.
I am. I'm up there. At least my house is on the hill, so it has a little bit of a view.
Yeah, you got a great one. So let's dive right into today's topic, Mike. So a lot recently, we've been talking a lot about income planning and the importance of, having stable and predictable income in retirement. And we're going to talk kind of something, in that category today as well, right?
Yeah, so today we're going to talk about Social Security. And I know that if you've already taken Social Security, not a lot you can do.
Right.
But one of the common questions we get is, when should I take Social Security? Should I take it right away as soon as I can because I'm worried Social Security is going to run out of money? Should I wait till I'm 70 or later and I get more money? Like, what's the right time for me to take Social Security? And Zach, that's a really important question to ask because studies tell us that depending on when you take Social Security, you could potentially be leaving tens of thousands of dollars on the table, maybe over $100,000 on the table if you just time it the wrong way.
Well, that's huge. So the answer to this question, it's not going to be so simple, and we're going to dive into some of the answers, right?
That's right. I mean, the problem is Social Security, not a simple topic. If you've ever tried to talk to the Social Security Department, you are probably going to be, well, let's just say, less than impressed.
Right. We should have that book in the room you have where it's the Social Security Guide, and it's like 1,500 pages.
Yeah, actually, Social Security has literally 2,728 different rules.
Oh, my gosh.
2,728 rules. And it's this book. You're right. I wish all of you out there listening, I wish you could see this book. It's like, it's not a book. It's a tome.
It's a brick. You can knock somebody out with it.
Oh, my gosh. It's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
But in any event, when we talk to families, usually they're in one of three scenarios, right? So scenario number one is Social Security represents just their retirement cake. It's a huge percentage of their income in their retirement. And these are usually people who have saved, maybe less than $500,000. And they're saying, okay, maybe I've got my house, I've got my Social Security, and I've got some money set aside in savings. And Social Security for them is a big deal.
Yeah.
So that's one set of families. Another set of families that we talk to is kind of the opposite. They've saved $2-3 million. And, for them, Social Security, it's not the cake, it's the icing on the cake. Does it make up part of their retirement? You bet it does. But is it the majority of their retirement? Not at all. And then you've got the third group, which is, maybe the majority, which is we're somewhere in between.
Right.
We've got somewhere between $500,000 saved for retirement and $3 million. And these are the people where Social Security is a very important part of their retirement. It's not the cake, it's not the icing, it's something in between, right? But it's important. And in each of those groups, it's important that, each of you, no matter where you fall in those three groups, whether, your assets less than 500, over 3 million, somewhere in between, no matter where you fall, if you think about it, you've been paying into Social Security for what? your entire working career,
Forever
probably
at this
40
point.
years
Yeah.
or something. And for 40 years, whether you know it or not, you've had something like 12% of your income going into Social Security. Don't you want to make sure you get the most value from Social Security? Don't you want to make sure you're getting the most out of it?
I would.
I mean, of course you would. The challenge is that it's going to be different for everyone. And we can talk about some general rules this evening, but the reality is that we cannot give you advice on a show like this.
Right, it's strictly education.
Everybody's different. And, we certainly will share with you if you want to get some advice, if you want to sit down with us and say, hey, could I sit down with you guys and just talk it out for how it works for me individually? Yeah, I'll share with you how you can do that during the show. But what we want to do is we want to share really good information out there. We want to get good information out in the public so you can make better choices. And if you want to sit down with us one-on-one, of course, we'll make that available to you. But here's the bigger deal, right? You've been working your entire life. We are big believers that you deserve the retirement of your dreams. You deserve to enjoy the fruits of your labor. You deserve that. So let's make some good financial choices together so that you can make the most of your hard-earned savings. So we have 3 categories that we're going to talk about.
Yep.
If you have less than $500,000 saved for retirement, probably for you, Social Security probably will represent a significant portion of your retirement planning. And if you're over $3 million, it probably represents a smaller portion. And if you're somewhere in between, guess what? You're somewhere in the middle. So let's talk a little bit. We'll start with Group 1. If you have less than $500,000 saved for retirement, right? For you, Social Security is probably a pretty big chunk of what you're going to do or what you're going to have for your retirement income. Now, there's a general rule of thumb for you if you're in this group. The general rule of thumb is simply this. Try to hold off and wait as long as you can. That is the general rule. Now, does that apply to everybody? Of course not. And if you do delay, you could take Social Security as early as age 62. But all of you have what's called a retirement age. The Social Security Department says you have a retirement age. And if you're born in 1960 or later, that retirement age is 67. As far as Social Security is concerned, that's your retirement date, the month in which you turn 67. Now, if you're born before 1960, you might be 66 and a half or what have you. But the big question mark is, well, there's really 2 question marks. Question mark number 1 is people are often worried, will Social Security be there, right? Will Social Security be there? And then the second concern that people often have is, well, what if I don't live long enough to really get the value? Like, I know if I wait, I get more. Every year you wait, you get roughly 8% more income from Social Security. So like, hey, is it a guaranteed 8% rate of return? I've heard people say that. No, it's not. That's not what it is. But your income does increase roughly 8% a year. So the longer you wait, the better off you are. But then the question is, well, like, how long would I have to live for the higher amount that I get later to overcome the fact that I've got money in my pocket today? Is a bird in the hand worth more than 2 in the bush, if you will, right? So let's talk about this a little bit. First, Zach, people all the time, they say, man, I'm worried that Social Security, it's going to go away. It's going to go bankrupt. And that's a natural concern because the media loves to say that.
They like to scare people.
They love to scare people. They love to talk about it. So let me maybe share with you what the real world entails here, right? Let's talk about the real world. Real world is that right now, the Social Security Trust Fund, which isn't really a trust fund, but they call it that, is the way it's structured right now. If Congress does nothing, then I think it's 2033, 2034, coming up in about 12 years. They're saying, hey, we're going to reduce your payments. We're going to cut your Social Security payments by roughly 22%. Okay. So it doesn't go away. It just gets reduced. Now, here's my question for you. Politicians have one overriding concern. There's one thing they care about more than anything else. What do they care about more than anything else, Zach?
Getting reelected.
They want to get reelected, of course. And now let's imagine this scenario.
Okay.
We're going to imagine that I'm in office.
Okay.
I'm a politician. I'm a congressman. I'm a senator. And, I'm one of these weasel, politicians. And all I care about is, I probably just got beeped or something. All I care about is that I'm going to get reelected. I just want to get reelected. That's it. Because if I get reelected, I can keep going to Washington, D.C.
Right.
I can keep getting the kickbacks that, everybody knows I get. But,
Yeah.
I can continue being the weasel that I am. So along comes 2033, 2034.
Okay.
And all of those people out there receiving Social Security, because I didn't do anything because I was too busy getting reelected, they all suddenly see their Social Security checks cut by 20%. Are they happy?
The pitchforks are going to be outside your house.
Let's be honest. These are the people that vote.
They're going to trek up to Valente and find you.
So now this has happened. You decide, okay, it's time for you to run for office. You're going to run against me. And what message are you going to be pushing over and over and over again?
Oh, I'm going to get your Social Security back.
That's right.
Not like Mike.
Yeah, you're going to say that loser weasel Mike, right? While he was in office, he didn't care about you, right? He let you get your Social Security reduced. You got to get that loser out of office and put me in, right?
Yeah, 100%.
And guess what? Everybody's going to vote for you.
Yeah, I win.
Next thing you know, I'm gone. Now, do you think I may be a weasel politician, but do you think I don't know that?
You probably know that.
I know that. So what am I going to do before that happens? We're all going to get together in Washington, D.C. This is when, by the way, these are the periods when Republicans and Democrats, they actually start really getting together. And they're like, oh, we better do something here.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of things they can do. I mean, they can push the starting date for Social Security. Instead of full retirement age being 67, they could say, hey, for younger people, we're going to make it 70. People are living longer anyway. Let's make it 70, right? Mm-hmm. That would help. They can say, oh, all you really rich people, right, who are making a bunch of money. Because right now, they only tax Social Security up to $150,000 of income. You make over $150,000, we're going to keep taxing your income. All right, so they'll do that. That'll help. There's a lot of actions they can take to help make Social Security more effective.
Right.
This very thing happened back in the 80s, and just like today, in the 80s, oh, it's going to go broke. What happened? Magically, about a year before it was going to go broke, the politicians suddenly they found common ground real fast, and they figured out, how do we fix it? I expect the same thing's going to happen again. So Social Security is not going away. The other issue is break even. If I take it now, how long do I have to live for it to break even? The answer is really simple. Right around age 80. That's it. If you live longer than age 80, you're probably better off to wait. Now, here's the thing. On the other side of that, some people say, yeah, that's great, Mike, but you know what? I want to spend more money now because I'm healthy. I'd rather take it now and get something and spend it now while I'm healthy. I can do stuff versus waiting. There's nothing wrong with that idea either.
Right.
Here we go. You mentioned earlier, it's different for everyone, right? And we've already learned, hey, I want to spend it now because I'm healthy. Maybe you take it now even though you get less over time. Maybe you're thinking, I'm married. I want to make sure my surviving spouse is in good shape. I'm going to wait as long as I can. Right? Because when I die, the surviving spouse, one check stays, one check goes away, right? The larger check stays, the smaller check goes away. It's different for everyone. So here's what you need to know, number one. Number one, Social Security. As far as they're concerned, you have one retirement age and just one. And that is... if you were born in 1960 or later, your retirement age is the month in which you turn 67. As far as Social Security is concerned, that's it. So if I was born after 1960 and I was born in August. As far as Social Security is concerned, the August that I turned 67, that month, that year in which I turned 67, they're going to say, all right, Mike, congratulations. As far as we're concerned, that's your retirement date.
Yep.
Now, I can, if you were born before 1960, by the way, let's say you're born in 1958. Well, then your official retirement age, according to Social Security, if you're born in 1958, is I think when you turn age 6, the month in which you turn age 66, and I think it's 8 months, right? So they have this sliding scale. I'm going to pick on myself because I was born in August.
You like to make fun of yourself.
It's easy, right? I'm an easy target. So it wasn't that funny, Zach.
I was laughing.
All right, so I'm an easy target. So here we go. I'm born in August. So let's imagine that this year, well, it wouldn't be this year, but it would be, I guess, 2027, whenever. I turned 67. Let's imagine this was a year that I hit full retirement age. I can choose to take Social Security or I can just delay it. And every time I can delay as long as age 70. Age 70 is the longest you can delay, right?
Yep.
So I can delay to age 70. And if I delay, I get like 8% a year more. And so there, that would be the incentive to delay. But here's the other thing. I don't have to wait till my full retirement age to take Social Security. I can take it earlier. I could take it as early as age 62. And every month that I take it early, if I take it early 1 month early, or I take it 10 months early, or 30 months early, each month that I either wait or take it early, Social Security will, if I take it early, reduce my benefit a little bit. If I delay, they increase it a little bit. So every month, it's a little increase, a little reduction. But once I start, I'm done.
That's it.
My decision is made. I'm done. I'm not going back.
No mulligans.
Now, well, there's a mulligan, but you don't even want to deal with that if you can avoid it. Something like within 6 months, I could pay it back, but who cares?
Forget that. Yeah.
The point is, when you make your decision, you make your decision. Now, what if I'm still working? What if I'm still working and I want to take Social Security? Here's how it works. As long as I've hit my full retirement age, so for me it's age 67 because I was born after 1960. If I hit age 67 and I take Social Security, I can continue working. I can make a gazillion dollars a year, like Warren Buffett money, right? I can make a gazillion dollars a year. Doesn't matter. I still get my Social Security with no penalties, no reduction, no nothing. I'll have to pay tax on it, but I'm not penalized because I hit full retirement age. What if I take Social Security early and I'm working? Then what happens? Well, then they start taking my Social Security away from me if I make too much money. How much is too much money? Like 15,000 or some stupid little number, right? So it's kind of like this happened to my father-in-law. So my father-in-law, he was a chemistry professor at Michigan State. And he decided he wanted to retire, right? So he retires. He starts taking Social Security. Well, what happened? He was younger than his full retirement age, and Michigan State calls him up. They said, hey, Harry, turns out we can't get an instructor. Could we get you to cover a class or two? He's like, sure, I'm doing nothing. So he starts covering a class or two. Next thing you know, he's covering 3 classes and so on. And next thing you know, they're paying him basically full-time wages.
Right.
And Social Security sends him a letter saying, hey, dude, you're making, yeah, that's what they said. Hey, dude.
Yeah, that's how it was addressed.
So they said, hey, Mr. Ike, you're making too much money. We're going to start taking your Social Security away. He's like, what? I don't know. That's no good. So what can I do about it? And at the time they said, okay, well, if you pay back everything we paid you, we'll act as though it never happened, right? We'll give you kind of a do-over. And that's what he did. He just paid back what they paid him. And then, later on when he actually retired for real again, then he started again and everything was fine. You do get one do-over, but be aware that if you take Social Security before your full retirement age, watch out. That could be a problem. Here's the other thing. If you are married, your spouse is guaranteed to get at least half of your Social Security check at a minimum, assuming that your spouse waits until they hit their full retirement age to start their benefit. So a lot of times, and by the way, the half of what? Half of what you're getting? Maybe it's half of what you would have gotten if you had taken your Social Security at your full retirement age. Because remember, as far as Social Security is concerned, you only have one retirement age. So I'm married to Becky. Becky has mostly stayed at home. She hasn't earned a lot. We have 5 kids. I mean, she took care of them so I could work. So when we get Social Security, she'll probably get half of mine. Mm-hmm. But she only gets half if she waits until her full retirement age, right? And the half she gets will be half of what I would have received if I took my Social Security at full retirement age. So if I delay and I get more, she doesn't get half of the more. She gets half of what I would have gotten. If I take it early and I get less, guess what? She doesn't get half of what I'm taking. She gets half of what I would have received at full retirement. So that's kind of how that works. And there's all kinds of other rules, of course, but these are a couple of the biggies that we come across pretty frequently. All right, here's the thing. I got to come up against a break, so here's what I want you to do. Social Security, if you make the right decision, it puts tens of thousands, if not over $100,000 in your pocket. If you make the wrong decision, you lose it. So you got to make sure you're making the right decision. So what's the right decision for you? It all depends on your unique situation. I'm just going to share a couple of examples of families in that 500 to 3 million point, right? That show you how Social Security is just different for everybody, right? So the first family, we'll call them, I don't know, Jerry and Joan. I really want to call them Fred and Wilma. I'm just going to go with Fred and Wilma. I'm not going to go with the last name.
Yes, can't get beeped out.
Can't get because if I give a last name for Fred and Wilma, then there are certain people that might come after us and say those are trademark names.
Can't be doing that, Mike.
But Fred and Wilma, in case you're wondering, have some best friends. We'll call them Barney and Betty.
Okay, just a coincidence, right?
No last names though.
Right.
So here's Fred and Wilma. All right. And by the way, these are real. I'm obviously changing the names, but we do have these real world families. And so here we have Fred and Wilma, and they've saved maybe, I don't know, somewhere in between 500 and 3 million, $1.5 million. Okay. They saved $1.5 million. Okay. But anyway, Fred and Wilma, they have saved $1.5 million. They have some rental income coming in, maybe a couple $1,000s a month. And for their situation, they've always thought, we want to wait until age 70. They're both working. We want to wait till age 70 because that's how we get the most out of Social Security. They both come from long-lived families. They're very confident they'll live past the age of 80, so it'll make sense financially. And, they're living on $7,000, $8,000 a month for retirement. They're sitting on $1.5 million, and they're saying, you know what? Since we have a couple of thousand a month coming in from rental income, if we wait till 70, by the time we're all said and done, we're going to be getting close to, over $6,000 a month in Social Security, maybe $7,000, plus our rental income. Basically, if we can just get to age 70, Social Security and rental income covers everything we need.
They're in a great place.
We've got $1.5 million, and all we need to do is cover the difference, which is about $60,000-$70,000 a year out of the portfolio until they hit age 70. They're age 62. They got 8 years. They do the math. They're saying, you know what? We're going to need a total of maybe $600,000, $700,000 out of our retirement savings to get us to age 70. But once we're there, we're golden, right?
Right. They're
sitting on $1.5 million. Do they have any problem saying, you know what, I'm going to take that $1.5 million, I'm going to spend it down, I'll take $600-$700 out of it over the next 8 years, and that'll cover me until I get to age 70. Is that a problem?
No.
That's an easy no, not a problem at all. And by the way, I should have mentioned, they also have long-term care insurance, so it's not like they have to save money for that, right?
Fred has done really well.
Here's the other thing. They also said, Mike, we really don't have any children to leave this money to. It's just going to go to charity, so it's not like we're trying to save money for kids. For them, waiting until age 70, that works. That's beautiful. Now let's compare. Well, I should have said that's Barney and Betty, because as I remember, Fred and Wilma, they do have, well, I guess in our example, they both have kids, so whatever. Anyway, we're pretending Fred and Wilma don't have kids. Now, their best friends, Barney and Betty, they're in a different situation.
Okay.
Let's say they save the same amount of money, but they don't have any rental real estate, right? They have a child. Let's call him Bam Bam. No relation to any cartoon that would have occurred on a Saturday morning that I might have watched.
Never heard of Bam Bam.
Right. What a name for
Right?
a son.
Crazy.
He must play football. Anyway, they have a son, Bam Bam, the football player, who has a lovely wife. We'll call her Pebbles.
Okay.
Anyway, Barney and Betty, they have roughly the same money, but they don't have any income, any rental income. Mm-hmm. They also want to live on maybe $7,000-8,000 a month in retirement. And same thing, if they wait till age 70, their Social Security, it might be close to $7,000. But here's the deal. Since they have no income between now and age 70, they're also 62, they've got to take all that $7,000-8,000 a month out of their retirement savings. And if you do the math for them, if they do that for 8 years, they're going to spend down a huge chunk of that $1.5 million that they've saved for retirement. Huge chunk, more than they want to spend down. They're like, man, if we have to spend down that much and we don't have any long-term care insurance, if we need health care later on, we could be in trouble.
That could be a problem.
Right? In their situation, they actually do the opposite. They say, hey, we're 62. We can get Social Security now. We know it's a lot less money. You know, we're going to get maybe, because we take it now, maybe we get $4,000 a month or something like that. Right? Mm-hmm. But gosh, that only leaves a gap of like $3,000-4,000 a month. We've got $1.5 million. That can easily cover the gap and still grow over time. For them, taking Social Security early is the right decision. And by the way, do you think that sometimes I come across families where it makes sense where, for a couple, where one spouse might take it early and one spouse takes it late? Do you think I come across that?
Absolutely.
Yeah, of course we do. By the way, I don't want to forget all you single people out there. When should you take Social Security? It's the same thing for you, right? Take it early, take it late. It all depends on your situation. And I've seen a number of situations. You know, let's imagine that your name is, Bob or Sue. I am so creative with my names tonight.
Killing it.
Bob or Sue, and you're single. Right? When should you take Social Security? Again, it just depends on your situation. It depends on whether or not you're working. It depends on how much money you save for retirement. You know, it depends on, do you have long-term care insurance in place to protect you later in life? What about, are you trying to leave money to children or to a charity? Right? I don't talk to anybody that wants to leave money to the IRS for some reason.
Couldn't guess why.
By the way, if you're someone that if you're thinking, man, I really want to leave a lot of money to the IRS, do me a favor and don't call us. You're just not our kind of people. I'm just saying, right?
Yeah.
I know I probably just offended some people out there. I apologize for that.
The one.
I'm just saying, don't put me through that. Our job, the people we serve, when all is said and done, they want to live their lives comfortably. They want to live the retirement that they so richly deserve. They want to have that wonderful retirement, best years of their lives. If they're married, if they're single, when they're gone, they want to leave money to children or charities. If they're married, they want to make sure that their surviving spouse is fine. And then after they're both gone, they want to go to children or charities or a combination. Nobody seems to want to leave money to the IRS. I think they're doing okay.
Yep.
Right? So there you go. All right, a little fun on where we leave money. But I know we're coming up against a break. We're coming up to the end of the show. And here's the thing. This week we're talking about Social Security. The right decision will put money in your pocket, tens of thousands of dollars, maybe over $100,000 over your lifetime, extra money in your pocket, money that you deserve because you've already contributed it to the system. If you make the wrong decision, you lose tens of thousands of dollars. You lose maybe $100,000, money that's owed to you. I want to make sure that you get what you're owed. You should get what you deserve, right? You deserve it. Let's make the right choices so you get what you deserve. So, and by the way, does the Social Security Administration, do they tell you how to do it, Zach?
Nope.
They don't. They don't. They just leave it in your lap. So we want to help you with this. And we will put together for you a personalized Social Security analysis that will tell you how to get the most out of your Social Security. Zach, what's our number?
Mike, it's easy. It's 512-886-5850. Again, it's 512-886-5850. Now, it's after hours. You get our answering service. You leave your name, number, and a good time for us to give you a call back, and we'll give you this free analysis.
512-886-5850. Let's help you get that free analysis so you can make those great decisions so you can enjoy the best that is yet to come for you. That's our show tonight. Hope you all have a great week.